Let's go straight out to Michael Shiloh, reporter with KFNC Radio. Welcome, could you tell me what's going on? Is it true that the judge posted a $200,000 bond, which in effect is 10%, a $20,000 bond, but then the bonding company let her go for zilch, nada? She's basically free on her own recognizance?
Well, not her own recognizance. She's posted that bond, which was supplied by her lawyer, Mr. Parnham, and she is now at the Rusk State Facility, which is right here, the Rusk State Hospital, which is a fairly progressive hospital right here in the middle of God's country. To put it in perspective, Dallas is about 140 miles this way. Houston is about 160 miles that way. We're right out here in lumber country, far away from just about everything except, of course, the townspeople themselves and the Rusk State Hospital. Now, she will be here for at least a few weeks. This is not a guaranteed thing, though.
What do you mean it's not a guarantee? What do you mean it's not a guaranteed thing?
She's not going to stay here for a long time. She's going to be here temporarily because she will be going back to the Harris County Jail in about 6 weeks because she has her second trial coming up here for the deaths of 3 of those 5 children she killed.
Question, Michael, we have got reports tonight. You said her lawyer, George Parnham, put the money up, but reports are coming through tonight that the money was simply the cost of the bonding, that she did not even have to put up the $20,000. Can you clarify?
Well, now, the word that I have on that was that, indeed, there was some money put up in addition to just the fees. So that's conflicting information.
Well, what do you mean some money was put up in addition to the fees?
Well, my understanding was that the entire 10% was put down, $20,000 of the $200,000 bond that the judge set.
Question to you, Michael, is do we have a retrial date? And if she's receiving medical treatment in jail, where many of us believe she belongs, why is she being moved to this mental facility? Judge Finnerty just brought that up.
Well, there's no question that George Parnham is passionate about his client, which he should be as a lawyer. But then again, he has pulled some strings here, apparently. And what's going on is he's got a March 20th trial date. 6 weeks from now, she'll spend probably 5 weeks in this facility, and then we'll go back to the Harris County Jail.
Hey,
and this
I want to move here.
You have to remember one thing, though. This was one of the basic rules that Mr. Parnham had for trying to work out a plea bargain deal with the prosecutors in Harris County, was that she would go to this facility and stay here permanently. Now he's already got the precedent of her being here, which means that it may become easier to make a plea bargain. We don't know that for sure.
Oh, George Parnham, you little minx. Hey. To Michael Shiloh, reporter with KFNC Radio. Michael, where did the judge get the figure $200,000? Doesn't that mean, in common terms, 20,000 bucks up and she has bail?
She has bail, yes, through her lawyer. And her lawyer has said, Mr. Parnham, as you just heard, has gotten the bail money together from family members or from ex-family members. He is not saying exactly where he got it.
So you're telling me they have gotten the money together?
They have gotten the money together, and my understanding is she will likely be released tomorrow. But she will. Here in Houston, at FM News Channel 97.5 FM, we have gotten call after call, people horrified at the idea of her on the street. She is not going on the street. What she's doing is going to a mental facility, as Mr. Parnham said, and will stay there until the trial March 20th.
Now, didn't the judge say, I can't force you to commit yourself? Didn't the judge state that when granting the basically $20,000 bail?
Well, the judge did state that, although it's, of course, a matter of contention as to whether the judge has any control over that whatsoever.
Well, now she's back in court. She's got a brand new trial. Her plea, not guilty by reason of insanity. Straight out to KFNC Radio reporter Mike Shiloh. Mike, explain to us what's happening.
Well, she made an appearance in court today, as a matter of fact, in the pretrial hearing. She now is set to go to trial on March 20th. This would be, I believe, a retrial of her original plea, which, of course, she lost and was found guilty of the murders of 3 of her 5 children. This is how it stands today. It was a routine court appearance. She looks better than she has in the past. And we have to keep this in perspective because the world is changing in addition to this case going on. We know a lot more about postpartum depression discretion now than we did when the case was tried back in 2002. And of course, there's the fact that everyone, I believe, agrees that she has a mental defect, to use the legal language of this. So it's just a matter of whether or not a deal can be arranged by her attorney and the prosecutor, Mr. Ormby, or whether or not she will just go to trial and end up possibly going back to prison.
Mike, straight out to Michael Shiloh, investigative reporter, joining us out of Texas. Michael, for those not familiar with Resendez's record, I mean, when you take a look at the manner in which he killed so many people, it's shocking.
It is absolutely shocking, and the amazing thing about it is here is a man who actually believes he is the angel of death from Revelations in the Bible. He says that once they put him to death, he will resurrect himself within 3 days, refreshed and ready to go on, what, perhaps another search for evil? Because that's how he's killed these people. In his own mind, he says he was feeling evil from these victims, and that's what he says compelled him to pick up just about anything that was nearby and kill them.
Wait. Michael, let me get this straight. Resendez says he was feeling evil emanating from his victims?
From his victims, that's right.
Okay, hold on. Let's just go through some of the victims. I've got a huge fat file. A grandmother, 73 years old, an 80-year-old man, George Morber. I mean, I'm leaving out so many people, Michael, right?
Right, and plus the fact that these all occur near railroad tracks, coincidentally, which would be why he's called the railroad killer, although in prison they like to call him Choo-Choo Man. As a matter of fact, it's a case of just a kind of a simple case of them being near railroad tracks, and that would be in the wrong place at the wrong time, even in their own homes.
Is it true, Michael Shiloh, that this guy is actually claiming he should not be put to death because of mental incompetency?
That's what he and his lawyers are saying, too, yes. But then again, of course, if he's going to be put to death, why should he care? Because he can be resurrected within 3 days, right? That's what he's telling the psychiatrist.
I was reading what he said, and there is a quote, which I'll go into later, talking about he's actually immortal. But back to Michael Shiloh, investigative reporter who's been covering this case. Michael, tell me about what's going down at the jail. Of course, the anti-death penalty people are protesting. They're planning a vigil, so forth, so on. Explain.
Well, they have had people out at the jail. He's been in the Houston area jail for Harris County undergoing psychiatric tests. They have now moved him to death row, as it's called, in a town far, far away from Houston, where he'll be moved again tomorrow unless the Supreme Court intervenes. And that'll be, of course, for the lethal injection tomorrow night.
It's absolutely shocking. What I don't understand is how he got away with it for so long. Michael Shiloh, his lethal weapons that he used on all of his victims. Explain.
Only something he could grab at the time, whether it was a pickaxe in one case or a statue in the case of Dr. Claudia Benton here, or perhaps even a sledgehammer in one case as well. Just whatever was on hand, and then he would cover up the victims. This was apparently the thread leaking through each of these cases.
In fact, in one of his elderly victims, he left the pickaxe in her head.
Right.
Take a look. Tammy in Tennessee. Hi, Tammy.
Hello, Nancy. How come he was let back into the country 17 times, 18 times?
You know what? I don't know. Michael Shiloh, this guy was deported several times. Why? Why does he get back in? Does he get back in illegally?
This points out exactly what the trouble we have with the immigration system right now and the lack of border control. Yes, indeed, he got back in illegally every time, 17 times that we know of.